You are too good to feel this bad. Seriously, think about it. You work hard, you care about others, you push yourself. So why do you feel so drained, stuck, or just off all the time? If you've ever asked yourself, why am I so exhausted even when I'm doing everything right? This video is for you. And by the end, you'll have a clear path to start feeling better without completely overhauling your life. I see so many people, ambitious, hardworking, caring, feeling drained, stuck, or just unhappy. Maybe that's you right now. On the outside, everything seems fine. You're showing up, handling responsibilities, doing what you're supposed to do, but inside, you're running on empty. But here's the thing, you don't have to stay in this cycle. Feeling like this isn't normal, and it's not something you just have to deal with. Today, I'm going to break down exactly why you're feeling this way, and more importantly, how to shift into a healthier, more empowered state of mind. We'll uncover the hidden causes that are keeping you stuck, the small but powerful shifts you can make starting today, and how to protect your energy moving forward. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll have the clarity and tools to start feeling like yourself again. The invisible burden, carrying more than you realize. It's easy to overlook the weight you're carrying when you've been holding it for so long. Many people don't even realize they're battling emotional exhaustion, burnout, or chronic stress because, on the surface, they're functioning just fine. You might be keeping up with work, meeting deadlines, supporting friends and family, and maintaining a busy schedule, so everything looks normal from the outside. But what happens behind closed doors? Do you crash on the couch the moment you get home, too drained to do anything you actually enjoy? Do you find yourself feeling anxious, restless, or even numb, despite checking off everything on your to-do list? This is the invisible burden that so many of us carry, feeling exhausted, stuck, and unfulfilled, yet pushing through because slowing down feels like failure. The problem is, you can only run on empty for so long before something gives. Burnout doesn't announce itself with a dramatic breakdown overnight. It creeps in slowly. It starts as little things: a lack of excitement, a nagging sense of fatigue, or the feeling that no matter what you do, it's never enough. Eventually, you're left wondering why you feel so disconnected from your own life. Common signs. You're stuck in a cycle of feeling bad. If you're not sure whether this applies to you, ask yourself, do any of these sound familiar? Constant exhaustion, even after rest. You wake up feeling just as tired as when you went to bed. It's like no amount of sleep ever seems to be enough. Even when you take a break, it doesn't feel restorative. It's just temporary relief before the cycle starts again. Feeling unmotivated or uninspired. You used to have goals, passions, and things you looked forward to. But now, it feels like you're just going through the motions. Even the things you once enjoyed seem like a chore, and it's hard to remember the last time you felt truly excited about something. Overwhelmed by responsibilities. Your to-do list never ends, and instead of feeling productive, you feel paralyzed. There's always something demanding your attention. Work, relationships, errands. But no matter how much you accomplish, the stress never seems to ease up. It feels like you're always running on autopilot, trying to keep up, but never really catching up. Losing enjoyment in things that used to make you happy. Maybe you used to love reading, painting, going on walks, or spending time with certain people. But lately, everything feels dull. It's not that you don't have time. You just don't have the energy or desire. The things that once brought you joy now feel like obligations, and you can't remember the last time you did something purely because you wanted to. This cycle is exhausting, but more importantly, it's unsustainable. No one was meant to live in a state of constant depletion, yet so many people do. And the worst part? We convince ourselves that this is just how life is. That feeling drained, uninspired, and overwhelmed is just part of adulthood, but it's not. So if you recognize any of these signs, what's really causing them? And more importantly, how do you break free? That's exactly what we're about to dive into next. Because understanding why you feel this way is the first step to changing it. If you've ever wondered why you keep feeling drained, overwhelmed, or unfulfilled, despite doing everything you're supposed to, it's because the root cause isn't just external stress. It's deeper than that. It's often the expectations we put on ourselves, the emotional weight we carry, and the way we neglect our own well-being without even realizing it. Let's break down the hidden reasons behind why you feel stuck. One of the biggest culprits behind burnout and emotional exhaustion is the relentless pressure to meet unrealistic expectations. We live in a world that glorifies hustle culture, where being busy is seen as a badge of honor, and success is measured by how much you can accomplish in the shortest amount of time. The problem? This mindset is unsustainable. You might be holding yourself to impossible standards, whether it's at work, in your relationships, or in your personal growth. Maybe you feel like you always have to be productive. Every minute of your day needs to be optimized for efficiency. Or perhaps you struggle with perfectionism, constantly feeling like whatever you do isn't quite good enough, no matter how much effort you put in. The issue with perfectionism is that it creates a moving target. You tell yourself, once I hit this goal, I'll finally feel good about myself. But as soon as you reach it, your mind shifts to the next thing, and suddenly that achievement doesn't feel satisfying anymore. You're always chasing an ideal version of yourself that never actually arrives. This cycle of unrealistic expectations doesn't just lead to exhaustion. It leads to self-doubt, anxiety, and the feeling that no matter what you do, it's never enough. The truth is, constantly striving for perfection doesn't make you more successful. It just makes you more stressed. And the worst part? It tricks you into believing that rest is a weakness, when in reality, it's the very thing you need to function at your best. If you've been stuck in this perfectionist mindset, it's time to ask yourself, are these expectations actually helping me? Or are they just making me miserable? Because until you redefine what success actually looks like for you, you'll always feel like you're falling short, even when you're doing more than enough. Another hidden reason you feel so drained isn't just what's happening in your life right now. It's the emotional baggage you've been carrying for years. Whether it's past failures, disappointments, or patterns from childhood, unresolved emotions don't just disappear. They stay in your subconscious, affecting the way you think, react, and handle stress. Think about it. Have you ever found yourself getting irrationally upset over something small, or feeling anxious in a situation that logically shouldn't bother you? That's often a sign that old wounds are still impacting you. Your mind is stuck in fight or flight mode, constantly on edge, preparing for the next stressor, even when there isn't one. Maybe you grew up feeling like you always had to prove yourself. So now, as an adult, you overwork yourself just to feel worthy. Or perhaps you experienced rejection or failure in the past. And now you struggle with self-doubt, afraid that no matter what you do, it'll never be good enough. These patterns don't just go away. They shape the way you navigate life. The real challenge is that emotional exhaustion doesn't come from one big event. It comes from accumulation. Years of stress, disappointment, and self-imposed pressure building up until you reach a breaking point. And if you never take the time to unpack that baggage, it keeps weighing you down, making you feel like no matter how much you do, you're always tired. So ask yourself, what am I still carrying that no longer serves me? What unresolved stress is draining me without me even realizing it? Because until you let go of the past, it will keep controlling your present. One of the biggest misconceptions about self-care is that it's about doing more, adding meditation, yoga, or bubble baths to your routine. But real self-care isn't about rituals. It's about boundaries. It's about subtraction. Removing the things that are draining you and making space for what actually nourishes you. Many people think they're practicing self-care, but in reality, they're just distracting themselves. Maybe you scroll on social media for hours, binge watch TV, or shop online, thinking it's relaxing. But if you finish those activities still feeling drained, then they weren't actually restorative. True self-care is about intentional recharging, not just temporary escape. The most powerful form of self-care? Learning to say no to overcommitting yourself. No to toxic relationships. No to working late when you're already exhausted. It's about recognizing that your energy is a limited resource and protecting it the same way you would protect your money or time. The question isn't, am I doing self-care? The real question is, am I spending my time on things that actually refill my energy? Because if the answer is no, then no amount of spa days or treating yourself will fix the deeper issue. You don't need another relaxation technique. You need to stop letting the world drain you in the first place. Now we understand why you're feeling this way. But how do you start feeling better? How do you actually break out of this cycle and get your energy, joy, and motivation back? That's exactly what we're going to cover next. Now that we've uncovered why you're feeling stuck, drained, or unfulfilled, let's talk about how to change it. Because here's the truth. You don't need a complete life overhaul to start feeling better. You don't need to quit your job, move to a different country, or adopt a 5 a.m. morning routine. What you do need is to make intentional shifts, small but powerful changes that help you regain your energy, peace, and sense of purpose. Step 1. Identify what's draining you before you can start feeling better. You need to pinpoint exactly what's making you feel this way. Because the truth is, exhaustion doesn't just come from working too much. It comes from working on the wrong things, investing in the wrong people, and filling your time with obligations that don't align with your well-being. Take an honest look at your life. Is your job fulfilling, or does it drain you more than it energizes you? Are your relationships supportive, or do they feel one-sided and exhausting? Do your daily habits nourish you, or do they leave you feeling worse? A powerful way to do this is by creating a stress inventory. Grab a piece of paper and write down everything that takes up your time and energy. Work, relationships, commitments, even your daily routines. Then ask yourself, does this add to my life, or does it take away from it? If something is consistently draining you, it's time to reevaluate its place in your life. The goal isn't to eliminate all stress, because that's impossible. The goal is to minimize unnecessary stress and redirect your energy toward things that actually bring fulfillment. Because if you don't identify the things that are slowly draining you, you'll never be able to break free from the cycle of exhaustion. Step 2. Redefine success and self-worth. One of the biggest reasons people feel constantly exhausted and unfulfilled is because they've tied their self-worth to productivity. Society has conditioned us to believe that our value is measured by how much we accomplish, how busy we are, and how hard we push ourselves. But here's the truth. Your worth is not determined by your output. Think about it. When was the last time you allowed yourself to simply be, to enjoy a day without feeling guilty for not being productive? If the thought of doing nothing makes you uncomfortable, that's a sign that you've been programmed to believe that rest is laziness. But rest is not a luxury. It's a necessity. You have to give yourself permission to recharge without guilt. Success isn't about burning yourself out just to prove that you're hardworking. Real success is feeling fulfilled in your daily life. It's waking up with energy, having time for the things that matter, and feeling at peace with yourself. So start redefining success on your own terms. Maybe success for you isn't about climbing the corporate ladder. It's about having time for your family, your passions, and your mental health. Maybe success isn't about being busy all the time. It's about feeling balanced and present. When you let go of the belief that your worth is tied to productivity, you free yourself from the cycle of burnout. Step 3. Set boundaries and protect your energy. If you don't set boundaries, the world will set them for you. Your time, energy, and emotional well-being are limited resources. And if you don't protect them, people will take more than you can afford to give. Many people struggle with setting boundaries because they don't want to disappoint others. They say yes to things they don't have the energy for, stay in draining relationships out of obligation, and put others' needs before their own, until there's nothing left to give. But here's the truth. You can't pour from an empty cup. If you keep sacrificing your well-being for the sake of others, you will eventually have nothing left for yourself. Start practicing the power of saying no. No to commitments that don't align with your priorities. No to people who drain your energy. No to overworking yourself just to prove your worth. Saying no isn't selfish, it's self-preservation. At the same time, surround yourself with people who uplift you. The people in your life should energize you, not deplete you. Pay attention to how you feel after spending time with someone. If you leave feeling exhausted, anxious, or unappreciated, it's time to reevaluate that relationship. Protecting your energy means being intentional about where you invest it. Step 4. Rebuild habits that serve you. Changing your life doesn't happen through one big transformation. It happens through small, consistent habits that support your well-being. And the key here is to focus on sustainability. You don't need a 10-step morning routine or a drastic lifestyle change. What you need are small, realistic shifts that create lasting impact. Here are 3 simple but powerful habits that can help you feel better. Prioritize sleep. Stop treating sleep like an inconvenience. Your body needs rest to function properly. Poor sleep affects everything: your mood, energy levels, mental clarity, and even your ability to handle stress. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep and don't feel guilty for making rest a priority. Move your body in a way that feels good. Exercise doesn't have to be intense workouts or hours at the gym. It can be walking, stretching, dancing, anything that gets you moving. Your body was designed for movement, and even small amounts of daily activity can have a huge impact on your mental and physical well-being. Practice mindfulness. Your mind is constantly overstimulated by notifications, responsibilities, and daily stress. Take time each day to slow down. Whether it's deep breathing, journaling, or just taking 5 minutes to be present, mindfulness helps you reconnect with yourself and manage stress more effectively. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Even if you start with just one small change, it will create a ripple effect in your life. The more you prioritize habits that nourish you, the easier it becomes to break free from the cycle of exhaustion and burnout. If you start implementing even one of these steps, you'll notice a difference. But here's the real key. It's not just about feeling better temporarily. It's about creating a lifestyle where you stay energized, fulfilled, and at peace. And in the next part, we're going to dive into exactly how to make these shifts sustainable long-term. You are too good, too valuable, and too full of potential to stay in a place of exhaustion and unhappiness. Life isn't meant to be a cycle of burnout, stress, and feeling like you're just barely keeping up. You deserve to feel energized, fulfilled, and at peace. But that change starts with you. Take one small step today. Whether it's setting a boundary, redefining your worth, or simply giving yourself permission to rest. You don't have to fix everything overnight. Progress isn't about perfection. It's about consistently choosing habits, mindsets, and environments that support your well-being. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these steps resonated with you the most? Let me know in the comments below. Your insight might inspire someone else who's on the same journey. And if you found this helpful, be sure to check out my video on how to design a life you'll never regret, where I dive even deeper into how to protect your energy and build a life that actually feels good to live. Remember, you don't have to wait for the perfect moment to start feeling better. You deserve to feel good. Start today.